I'm going to make a ukulele out of paper. I want to add that I have no woodworking experience whatsoever, so all you luthiers and instrument builders will probably cringe. But I am Japanese, so I should be good at making stuff out of paper. Now you're probably wondering, how do I prevent the paper from tearing or crumpling? Well, I bought this stuff called epoxy resin. I think I just rub it on the paper and it should harden it into more of a plastic material. Anyways, this was a lot more expensive than I thought, and this video is sponsored by my bank account. Please like and subscribe so I don't go broke. So after about 20 seconds of research, I found that ukulele wood is about 2 millimeters thick, and paper is about 1/10 of a millimeter thick, meaning I should stack about 20 pieces of paper to make the paper slab as thick as ukulele wood, but it will probably be thicker since I will be adding epoxy between each layer of paper, or rather saturating each paper in epoxy to make it hard. Now technically I'm not going to make the entire ukulele out of paper, I'm just making the body out of paper since that's the important part. It's way too much work to do the neck, and I'm really lazy. For the rest of the ukulele, I bought the cheapest DIY ukulele kit I could find, and I'm keeping the neck, fretboard, tuners, bridge, and nut, pretty much everything except the body, but I will still use the body as a template to shape the sides. So I decided to go with black and gold paper cause I think it makes a nice color scheme. I want to make the top and back out of black paper and the sides out of gold paper. I bought big paper that fits the entire length and width of the body so I wouldn't have any awkward gaps. If I were to use two normal papers side by side, it would create an ugly gap in the slab of paper and probably make it weaker. So obviously I started the build by going to Starbucks cause I like Starbucks. I traced the body onto each paper and cut out a rough outline. I could have done this quicker by epoxying the layers first and then cutting the shape from the paper slab, but I only had a limited amount of epoxy, and using less paper will help conserve the epoxy. I repeated that process for the sides. I originally thought they would be long rectangles since I assumed the top and back of the ukulele were parallel, but the body actually tapers a little bit so it's thicker at the bottom and thinner at the neck. I ended up cutting these long trapezoidal shapes to stack for the sides. Then I cut some extra paper to make bracing out of. Once I cut all the paper, I thought I would create a cute headstock design. Right now, the headstock is just plain wood, and it looks kinda basic, so I thought I'd add a little picture to give it some life. This is what I came up with. It's a cute little mushroom head. Anyways, now that I had all the parts, I started epoxying the layers together. I just finished epoxying the parts. I covered these two wood boards in sheathing tape to prevent the epoxy from sticking, then I put the top and back between those boards and added some weight on top to prevent them from warping. The slab of paper I made for bracing was thicker, so I'm gonna wait for the epoxy to dry a little before adding weight on top. I used the DIY ukulele body as a mold for the sides. The two sides are stacked on top of each other with a layer of sheathing tape in between them. I didn't have a great way to clamp them since they're such a weird shape, so I ended up making another layer of sheathing tape to put on top and taping everything to the body. I'll leave this all to dry for a couple of days and hopefully it'll come out alright. So while the epoxy is still drying, I realized I was missing a brand name and logo. And when I epoxied the sides, the gold turned to more of a Donald Trump orange color, so I thought, what would go well with this black and orange color scheme? Nolan's Ukes. It's fun, exciting, and totally unique. It will capture the attention of hundreds, no, thousands of girls worldwide. Now that the logo is finished, I'm gonna design some bracing pieces to go inside the ukulele. If you don't know what bracing is, they are pieces glued to the inside of the ukulele. They provide strength and control the vibrations to produce a better sound. You can obviously add strength by thickening the top and back, but that muffles the sound and creates a bad tone. From my experience, I prefer thinner wood, or in this case paper, as well as a good bracing system to have both tone and strength. Now, I'm not a luthier, and I have no idea how to design bracing or how different bracings sound, but in all my ukuleles there are some pretty common shapes. There are 2 horizontal bars on the back, 2 horizontal bars on the soundboard above and below the sound hole, and 2 or 3 vertical bars on the bottom of the soundboard. I made some basic rectangles to go on the back and bottom of the soundboard, but I tried to make a more resonant shape to go above and below the sound hole. Since these horizontal pieces cut across the soundboard where most of the vibration happens, I added some gaps to hopefully prevent the bracing from over-restricting vibration. This should make the ukulele more resonant. So the epoxy finished drying and it came out pretty well. Here are the front, back, and sides. Now I'm gonna cut out bracing from this slab of paper and sand everything down. I was gonna play Mr. Sandman here, get it? Cause I'm sanding, but it turns out it's not in the public domain, and if I play a cover, it will be blocked in 198 countries. So instead, here's an original called Mr. Sand Boy.
Now that everything's sanded, I wanted to add a player side sound hole since I've always liked those. I took some creative liberties and made it a Mickey Mouse shape because I like Disney. Follow me on Instagram at nolansuke_disney_music. In case if you were wondering, the Mickey Mouse is about 2 inches long.
I started gluing the sides together. I attached them with a neck block and bottom block. I don't know the terms. I just made blocks out of scrap wood and put them at the top and bottom. They're there to add strength and more gluing surface area since the sides are thin. I also added some wooden kerfing which I originally didn't plan on adding, but I had a $10 eBay coupon that was expiring, and I'm Asian so I couldn't let that go to waste.
The kerfing finished drying, so now I'm gonna sand everything flush. I don't have a belt sander, so instead I'm gonna do it the getaway where I tape sandpaper to a board and sand everything by hand. I traced the sides on the front and back. Now I'm gonna cut out the rough body shape and sound hole.
I started gluing the bracing on. I made a template for the bracing layout and traced it on with masking tape so I knew where to glue. I decided to add a bridge plate and a vertical bar on the back since the epoxy dried a little flimsy. They just help strengthen the body.
The bracing's glued on, so now I'm gonna glue the body together and just hope everything works. I cut the sides flush, so the body's essentially done. Now I just have to glue all the parts together.
I drilled some holes in the body and neck. Ideally the neck should be bolted down or supported by dowels to add strength. Since I bought a $30 ukulele kit, I didn't get dowels, which is really sketch. The neck might collapse if I just glue the two faces together. Instead, I went on Amazon and bought some of these little metal dowels. They were like $6 and I can just screw some holes in the neck and glue them in to act as bolts. Apparently these are made for bunk beds, so if they can support people doing it, then they should support about 40 pounds of string tension.
I taped off where the bridge is gonna go so I can add a layer of wipe-on poly. This will seal all the little holes and add a thin layer of finish before I add the headstock design. Nice cut! I've got the headstock decal, so now I'm gonna polish the body and glue the bridge on. I got the bridge on, so now I'm gonna adjust the action with the nut and screw the tuners on.
That's pretty much it. I got this strung up, so here's the final product. Nolan's Ukes, the new, fun, exciting, and totally unique brand. My ukuleles are built from the most affordable paper I could find on Amazon, cause wood is overrated. They come in a variety of colors ranging from black to Donald Trump orange, unlike actual ukuleles which are just plain wood. And why have a basic player side sound hole when you can give your ukulele some life by making it a Mickey Mouse shape? Follow me on Instagram at nolansuke_disney_music. To top it off, my beautiful custom designed headstock is harder than any other ukulele on the market. Since I don't care about quality, my motto is, I supply them, you finger them, nolansukes.com. Anyways, this is what it sounds like. So it sounds pretty trash, but I kind of expected that because it is made from paper. I'll still probably use this in future videos as a joke, so please like and subscribe if you don't want to miss those. That's it for this video, thanks for watching.